Lisette Oropesa, born September 29, 1983, is a first-generation Cuban American operatic soprano. She has a wide repertoire that includes works from Gluck, Handel, Mozart, Rossini, Donizetti, Wagner, Verdi, Bizet, Massenet and Puccini. With her lyric coloratura soprano voice, she has performed roles in her native Spanish and English, as well as German, French and Italian. She is particularly noted in the roles of Susanna, Gilda, Konstanze and Lucia. Lisette is a vegan and avid runner, marathoner who has been featured in Runner's World magazine. In 2014 she co-contributed to Running, Eating, Thinking, a Vegan Anthology by Martin Rowe, where she talked about her weight loss journey and how she now follows a plant-based diet. In 2015 she was a contributor to Master Singers, Advice from the Stage, which includes interviews from famous opera singers about analysis and awareness of their technique, art, interpretation and stagecraft. Early life and education. Lisette was born in New Orleans, Louisiana and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Her parents emigrated from Cuba. She originally studied to be a flutist before her mother, a music teacher and former operatic soprano, suggested she audition for the voice faculty at the LSU School of Music at Louisiana State University. Her audition went so well that she joined the voice program with Robert Grayson as her mentor. Career beginnings. Lisette Oropesa was a Grand Finals winner of the National Council Grand Finals at the Metropolitan Opera in 2005, and joined the Met's Lindemann Young Artist Development Program, which she graduated from in 2008. She made her Met debut in a small role in Jean-Pierre Ponel's production of Idomeneo, conducted by James Levine on September 28, 2006, and then sang the first lay sister in the new production of Suor Angelica. As substitute, she sang her first leading role at the Metropolitan Opera, appearing as Susanna in 5 performances of Sir Jonathan Miller's production of La Noce di Figaro, opposite Erwin Schrott's Figaro in October 2007, which was regarded as a great success. Work at the Met in New York. In the 2007-08 season, Oropesa was seen in the Met's Hansel and Gretel as the Jew fairy, and, in the 2008-09 season, in the role of Lisette in La Rondine, opposite Angela Gheorghiu, Roberto Alagna, and Samuel Ramey in Nicholas Joel's production. She also sang the role of the Rhine Maiden, Woglind, in the Met's 2009 Der Ring des Nibelungen, and additionally sang the offstage role of the Woodbird in Siegfried. On September 27, 2010, she reprised her Rhine Maiden in the Met season opening production of Das Rheingold, for which she won a Grammy Award for Best Opera Recording in 2013. In May 2011, she sang the part of the god Ama in Mark Morris's production of Orfeo ed Eurydice. On December 31, 2011, she created the role of Miranda in the Met's Baroque pastiche, The Enchanted Island, singing opposite Placido Domingo, and conducted by William Christie. The end of the 2012-2013 season culminated with her singing as Gilda in Rigoletto and as the Waldvogel in Siegfried, where she was extremely well received in both productions. Her pure, smooth soprano and alert presence were both endearing, including the bright yellow forest bird, beautifully sung from offstage by Lisette Oropesa. Quote, "The end of 2013 saw a very successful opening of a new production of Falstaff at the Met, conducted by James Levine, according to the New York Times." Quote, "With the role of Nanetta, the winning soprano Lisette Oropesa sings with effortless grace and lyrical bloom." Quote, "In 2014 she starred alongside Jonas Kaufman and Sophie Koch in the new production of Werther, directed by Richard Eyre. The New York Times noted that the bright-voiced, impressive soprano Lisette Oropesa is a sunny, winning Sophie. Quote, at the beginning of 2016, Lisette gave her first NYC solo recital with the Park Avenue Armory. According to Anthony Tomasini of The New York Times, she gave a rewarding performance, and brought uncommon freshness to this music. Performances elsewhere. The soprano has appeared with the Welsh National Opera's Konstanze and Verrung aus dem Serail, with the Deutsche Oper im Rhein in Il Turco in Italia, at the Tanglewood Music Festival as Konstanze, at the Ravinia Festival as Susanna in La Noce di Figaro, conducted by James Conlin, for Opera New Jersey as Lucia in Lucia di Lammermoor, at Arizona Opera as Gilda in Rigoletto, again as Lucia, and at the New Orleans Opera as Gilda and as Layla in Les Peckers de Perles. In April and May 2012, Oropesa appeared with the Pittsburgh Opera's Konstanze in a production of The Abduction from the Seraglio set on the Orient Express in the Pasha's private train car. In October 2012 she again performed the role of Lucia with the Arizona Opera to resounding success. In November, she continued her success by performing the role of Cleopatra in Michigan Opry Theater's Giulio Cesare, Julius Caesar, to great acclaim. In 2013 the soprano sang the role of Pamina in The Magic Flute at Florida Grand Opera, and reviews were universally positive. As noted in several, Oropesa was beyond fantastic in her portrayal of Pamina. Her aria, Ach, ich Fools, sung as she believes Tamino no longer loves her, was genuinely moving. Quote, that summer resulted in Oropesa's continued operatic triumphs as Susanna in La Noce di Figaro at the Santa Fe Opera. Nothing in the evening surpassed her rendition of De Vieni non tarda in Act 4, in which she spun strands of magic in the evening air, noted critic James Keller. Later in 2013, she sang the role of Amalia at the Washington Concert Opera for Verdi's I Massenet, in which she achieved total triumph as Amalia, the trill-filled part created for Jenny Lind. She was also called in as a last-minute replacement for Nanetta in San Francisco Opera's Falstaff. After her performances at the Met in early 2014, Lisette's summer schedule included many concerts. These included the Haydn Creation in New York and in Cleveland, the St. Matthew Passion in Chicago, Abduction from the Seraglio in Bellingham, Washington, and a reprise of her 2010 performance in La Noce di Figaro at Ravinia Festival. Opera engagements included Nanetta at the Dutch National Opera, Gilda at Grand Theatre de Genève, and Konstanze at the Bavarian State Opera. Her last performance of 2014 was her debut at the Los Angeles Opera as Rosalba in Daniel Catan's Florencia en el Amazonas. In 2015, she started the year at the Paris Opera as Konstanze with great success. Oropesa seguita da Martin Alleaten, cantata con accenti incisivi e appassionata recitazioni. Her next performance was at the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam, where she received a standing ovation for her rendition of Caro Nome in a recorded radio performance of Rigoletto. She returned home to New Orleans to acclaim as Susanna. Oropesa offered a fine display of vocal versatility, from the lilting coloratura of the young woman in love to the confusion and anger of the object of the lascivious intentions of her overlord, Count Almaviva. She then went on to a highly successful role debut in Daughter of the Regiment at Pittsburgh Opera. Oropesa's Marie lacked neither virtuosity nor personality. With solid high notes, accurate coloratura and an endless supply of golden age trills, I stopped counting after 5. This endearing artist ran a vocal marathon that might have paralleled the physical feat she was preparing to run in Pittsburgh Marathon the next morning. Her next engagement was with the San Francisco Opera in Les Noces di Figaro. Lisette Oropesa is a charming Susanna. Her voice has a gorgeous, delicate quality to it, but still has volume. Her Devieni non tarda was unstrained, and she managed to do a perfect martial arts flip of Figaro when she loses her temper with him later in the act. She went on to another extremely successful debut in La Traviata at the Philadelphia Opera. Oropesa manifested secure technical chops, trills, staccati, pinpoint dynamics and, most impressively, a long, sustained line that allowed her to hold the audience breathless in both Die Giovine and the party scene ensembles. In November, she was brought in for nearly back-to-back performances of Rigoletto and Die Entführung aus dem Serail with the Bayerische Staatsoper due to cancellations. She then finished the year with a performance of Rigoletto with the Teatro Real in Madrid, in which she was a triumph. In 2016, Lisette performed many concert works, starting in Rome at the Accademia Nazionale di Santa Cecilia with the Fauré Requiem. She then went to Baltimore to sing with Eric Owens in the Ein Deutsches Requiem. Next, she performed the Mahler 8th Symphony with Yannick Eniakutze DT Sagan and the Philadelphia Orchestra. Her next concert was in Cincinnati with James Conlon in his last season with the Cincinnati May Festival. She was then found in Munich performing for the Unicredit Festspielnacht. Her next operatic role was a brand new production of Les Indes Galantes with the Bavarian State Opera, to which she performed to acclaim. Michelot's Die Selissen, Herausragende Gieren, in Edlen Kantilnen und Rasanten Coloraturen, Lisette Oropesa. She then returned stateside to Washington, D.C., where she reprised her role as Susanna for the Washington National Opera in The Marriage of Figaro. Ms. Oropesa made this notable role her very own, deftly and intelligently adapting to every negative plot twist with a fine sense of theatre and with a bright, sunny soprano. With a quick stop to Dallas to sing with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra in Ein Deutsches Requiem, she was back in Washington, D.C., to perform as Marie in La Fille du Regiment again with the Washington National Opera. This time, her stage partner was Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Lisette sang flawless runs and coloratura, acted in the humorous tradition of Carol Burnett, moved like a prima ballerina, and used vocal coloring for best emotional effect. Her pianissimo, crescendo and decrescendo were breathtaking. Clearly, Oropesa is a rising star of opera. Lisette finished off the year, returning to Rome to debut at the Teatro dell'Opera di Roma to perform in Rigoletto, con un legato di alta scuola e un bel timbro di soprano lirico. La Oropesa indulge in acuti esposti cum bella mercanzia. Per esempio al termine del duetto con il duca, il quale però non la segue all'acuto, sembrando così quasi un duca intimorito, ma non si limita al canto. Quote, repertoire, opera, concert, recordings, video, Puccini, Il Trittico, Fritoli, Blythe, Levine, O'Brien, 2007, Humperdinck, Hansel and Gretel, Schaefer, Coote, Jarofsky, Jones, 2008, Emmy, Puccini, Man and Lescaut, Motilla, Giordani, Croft, Levine, Healy 2008, Emmy, Puccini, La Rondine, Georgiou, Alanya, Brentsu, Raimi, Amiliato, Joel, 2009, Emmy, Wagner, Das Rheingold, Blythe, Croft, Terfel, Owens, Levine, Lepage, 2010, Emmy, Sams, The Enchanted Island, Denise, Di Donato, Daniels, Domingo, Pissaroni, Christie, McDermott, 2012, Virgin Classics, Franke, Wagner's Dream, Filion, Gelb, Lepage, Levine, Louisi, Morris, Voigt. 2012. Verdi, Falstaff, Maestri, Blythe, Oropesa, Mead, Fanale, Levine, Carson. 2014. Massenet, Werther, Kaufmann, Koch, Oropesa, Bizet, Alternate Glue, Air. 2014. Publications. Rowe, Martin and Oropesa, Lisette. 2014. Running, Singing and Being Vegan, ed. Running, Eating, Thinking, A Vegan Anthology. New York, Lantern Books. ISBN 9781590563489. Paperback. George, Donald. 2015. Master Singers. Advice from the Stage. Oxford University Press. ISBN 978-0199324187. Paperback. Television. 30 Rock. Audition Day. Fay, Morgan. Krakowski. Baldwin. Scorsese. Walk-in. Fay, Hubbard. 2011. Awards. Lisette Oropesa's official website. Lisette Oropesa at the Internet Movie Database. Opera-based performance schedule and history. Wasserman, Adam. Sound Bites. Lisette Oropesa. Opera News. July 2009. Giavetti, Olivia. The Fit Lady Sings. Classical singer online at classicalsinger.com. December 2011. Subscription required. Camelio, Stephen. I'm a Runner. Lisette Oropesa. The Metropolitan Opera soprano took up running to lose weight and discovered it helped her singing. 2. Interview in Runner's World. October 29, 2013. Barnes, Scott. Diva Caliente. Opera News. November 2016.